Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And next, I'll be reviewing a lot of people consider as a classic, which in retrospect I do agree with. Why this film is a classic, definitely. But I also like the film in general, though. But despite the ambiguous ending, though, or I would say ambiguous though, but just I'll get to the ending though, But I do think it's still a good film, and that is of the classic 1974 film of Chinatown. Released in 1974, stars Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. And among the cast, also you got Burt Young, Paulie from the Rocky movies. Always nice to see him. And you got John Huston. Which, if you know that he is the father of actor Danny Huston, and Danny Huston, who played William Stryker from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah, so that's his father is in this, and he's also John Huston, also the father of actress Angelica Huston as well. And he plays also like this villain also in this as well though. So overall, you have a pretty good, decent cast in this film. I mean, Jack Nicholson, for one thing, I will always enjoy as an actor. He's always been a great actor. Faye Dunaway, also really good actress. And the thing is, though, despite this film being a good film, it's directed by. I mentioned before what a piece of shit Francis Ford Coppola is, how he defends pedophiles, especially that director Victor Selvig, the director of the Jeepers Creepers films. Well, here the thing is though, this film was directed by another guy who is like that as well. To me, he's a piece of shit human being. Okay, same with those other ones. And I'm also not big on his films either though. But this I do like. It's directed by Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski, I do think this is probably one of his better movies, though. It definitely is. But overall, I'm not big on his other films, though. I am not a fan of Rosemary's Baby. I am not a fan of The Ninth Gate. That was that devil film with Johnny Depp. I wasn't a fan of that film either. There was another film I forget. It was called it was a film with starred Hugh Grant. Was it Bitter Moon or? Actually, let me look it up. Yeah, Bitter Moon. That's what it was with Hugh Grant. Frantic. Yeah, Frantic. That was starred Harrison Ford, which I'm not a fan of. To me, I think it's one of the more boring Harrison Ford films I've watched. Frantic. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Rosemary's Baby. Neither was The Ninth Gate. The Pianist, no. He also did The Ghost Rider? I think was that the film with Ewan McGregor and Pierce Brosnan? I think it was. But I'm not really big on this guy though. As a director though, I'm not. But I think Chinatown, I can say, is probably one of the films that I think was his best one, I would say. But fuck Roman Polanski, because he's a piece of shit of a human being anyway. Like I said before, like with Francis Ford Coppola and Victor Salva, that's why he escaped the U.S. and went overseas, because if he knew he came back here, you know what happens if he comes back in the U.S. Probably you say, if he comes back in the U.S., you could probably say his ass is grass, basically. Just bluntly put it that way. And plus, also, I forgot that he was in this. I forgot he had a little role in Rush Hour 3. In Rush Hour 3, when Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan first arrives to Paris, there's that guy who, at the airport, inspect them, kind of pretty much got them detained, who's gonna shove his head up their asses. He's the one who says, "Welcome to Paris." And then by the end, which was satisfying at the end of the film, when Oh, he tries to take credit for bringing down the triads, and then Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker say, "You go this way, I'll go this way." Boom! They both punch out Roman Polanski. I'm like, yeah, please punch him out again, you know, because that's what he gets. What he deserves. Yeah, so that's Roman Polanski in Rush Hour 3. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was very satisfying to see him, both of them, just knock him the fuck out, you know. So yeah, fuck Roman Polanski. He's a piece of shit too. He's a vile human being. Same with the other ones I mentioned. Okay, but all that said and done, though, all that aside, I still think Chinatown is still a good film, though. Despite with the ending, which I understood what the ending was going for. I definitely understood why they went with the end. Why they went with the ending, you know, because it is like a gut punch of an ending. They make you go, oh. So I do respect that ending on that front, though. So I do understand why they went with that ending. But anyway, Chinatown, it takes place in the 1930s, and Jack Nicholson, he's a private detective, a PI by the name of Jake Getz. The opening of the movie, how it started, this old-fashioned front of the way they open it, which I do like. And he's investigating with Burt Young, and he shows him these pictures, and like Burt Young kind of loses it, you know. But at least he does pop up back in the film later on, which it was good, you know. Because I like Burt Young. Sadly, he passed away not that long ago, though, like a couple of years ago. So, but I like Burt Young, of course. You know, I said Paulie from the Rocky films. I know he was in the second anime film, The Possession. I know that one. But Burt Young is a good actor, though. So at least he gets to pop up later on back in the film. So after his case with that though, basically the rest of this plot where him is investigating on this whole thing on this water and power stuff, you know. And Faye Dunaway pops in because he pretends like she's like this woman, married to this woman by the name of Hollis, but it turns out she's not, though. Because she wants him to investigate on this stuff, what's going on with the water and power. And the more he finds out, it's more to it. It's more than just what's going on with the water and power. You know, it's just like things are going on more of a skew, basically, when the more he's investigating into this. You know, because leaving more of the corruption, like things like the cops are in on it, and the same with the government people, which leads to like the ending, because hey, I guess the message is that someone like him, despite it being a PI, though, he's powerless of what's going on in the, you know, he can't. He's only one person who can't take on the government and all that stuff, you know. So I get why why that ending happened. But regardless, though, I think that the script written by Robert Towne, I thought it was still a good script, though. And Robert Towne, which actually he passed away last year, he wrote on some pretty good films too as well. Not only in Chinatown, but he also wrote on the first two. He wrote on Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, which I do enjoy that film. He also wrote on The Firm, also with Tom Cruise, and he also wrote on the first two Mission Impossible films. All those films with Tom Cruise. But I think the script by Robert Towne in this film, I thought was still a good script, though, regardless about the ending, though. And also the score by my favorite composer, Jerry Goldsmith, which I love Jerry Goldsmith. He's my favorite composer. I thought from his score from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Small Soldiers, The Mummy, the Rambo movies, the first three, The Shadow. Even I'm not big on Sleeping with the Enemy, though, but I do like his score in that, though. Sleeping with the Enemy, but his score in that film was pretty good. A lot of good scores by Jerry Goldsmith, you know, and I like how he Deep Rising. That's another one of my personal favorite ones, you know. Creature feature films, I would say. But I do like his score in that film. So yeah, my favorite composer from Jerry Goldsmith. I thought his score was pretty good in this as well, creating that newer mystery feel to it. And so the more he gets invested, more he's investigating the fact that they're stealing water, because despite that being in a drought, though, but he's still making money off of this, and then he has a buddy in the LAPD, and which you don't know if some of these cops, especially his buddy, if they're in on it, so he has to figure about that, and then with Faye Dunaway, which she has a daughter. Which, you say it's either her daughter or her sister, but it turns out it's both. Because we learned that John Huston screwed her, put it mildly like that. He screwed her, and that's why it's like both her daughter and his sister. And also we have this little take on how Jack Nicholson, how he got his nose and how he injured his nose because there was a guy with a knife, which is actually played by Roman Polanski himself right there. If people did not know, yeah, Roman Polanski, he's the guy who cut Jack Nicholson's nose. I'm like, it's every time when I see, whether in Rush Hour 3 or in this scene where I just know how he is, But regardless, I thought it was a pretty scene right there where how Jack Nicholson's nose gets cut, like it's like the nose get like the knife was right here and then goes. Ooh, I'm like, I was like, oh shit. I just saw the way the knife went. And you see the blood squirt out, and I'm like, oh. Despite that, though, but yeah, that's Roman Polanski that's the guy with the knife. But that was like an oh shit moment, with it's like that kind of made me feel about that, And I did like the quote where he's talking to Faye Dunaway about it, how he almost lost his nose, and he was like, well, I damn near lost my nose, and I like it. I like breathing through it. So that was kind of funny. That was a kind of funny line. It says, I like my nose. I nearly lost it, and I like it, and I liked it, and I like breathing through it. I mean, like. Not like he likes getting cut. I was like, he liked his nose. He likes breathing through the nose. That's what I was trying to say. So, that was kind of a little funny quote. I like breathing through it. So that's how we got the cut on his nose. But and the more of this conspiracy and everything else. And the later he meets with Burt Young again, and which is nice to see though. And. Now, getting to the end, because we know that Jack Nicholson, he's only one person, right? So he can't take on everybody by himself. That's why this ending happens, where one thing leads to another, where in the end, where Faye Dunaway is trying to get away with daughter and sister, right? And then they shoot at her, and we hear the car horn, going on. Hence, that Faye Dunaway had been shot. And so John Huston gets with the girl, and basically whether his cop buddy, where he just doesn't fully believe in him now, because whether he's in on it with the other cops, and that's when we get the famous line of the famous line of the film. And I was looking at who was saying it though, but I guess it was one of the other people was telling him, which by the way before I saw this film, I remember hearing that quote on TV a couple of times, but it's like forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. That is a very famous line. That's probably one of film's greatest quotes. I'll put that along with of course Jaws. You're gonna need a bigger boat, right? Like those famous lines. This is one of them. I would say, forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. That's a great quote. It's a great line. but the ending, like I said, I get why they went with the ending, where, it's one of those films where, yes, we wanted to see the hero win, right? But there is going to be some of those films like this where the hero loses, and the villains win, It's one of those films, like, yeah, we want to see him win. We want to see him win go against all odds, and he wins, right? He exploited all this, but thing is, though, didn't happen, though. So, yeah, I get why they were the ending, because I think there was another ending where they, where Faye Dunaway kills John Huston, and then she goes to jail for it. But at the same time, it's like, it's tragic because she gets to go to jail. It's either jail or die, I think that's one of the conflicting endings that they did, and they went with this ending instead. But yeah, it's like, it's like, but either way, it's tragic though. Jack Nicholson still lose, and he didn't really uncover. I would say he didn't exploit everything, though. He didn't really do much of it. He didn't really do much on his job, I would say. But because at the end, he still lost anyway. But yeah, I would like to see him win. But it's just one of those films where the villain wins, John Huston, he wins. He gets the girl, which I can only assume what he's going to do with that girl next, But despite all that, I think that the line is a very memorable a piece of cinema history. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. And after this film, then years later, like 1990, they did a sequel of what was it called? Two Jakes. Yeah, The Two Jakes, which is a sequel to this film. Came out in 1990, and Jack Nicholson, he comes back as Jake Getz, and he directed that as well, though. Jack Nicholson did. But the thing is, though, that film did not do well box office wise, or failed to capture the same critical acclaim that this film did. So yeah, but that sequel failed both box office and critical wise. So, but despite the ending and all that, I think Chinatown is still a very good film, though. To me, I still think it's Roman Polanski's best film, I would say, because I'm overall not a fan of his other films that he did either. Because like I said, I don't care about Rosemary's Baby, The Ninth Gate, Bitter Moon, Frantic. I'm not a fan overall. So I probably could say Chinatown is his best film. Because I think Jack Nicholson, he did a really good job. Same with Faye Dunaway. It was nice seeing Burt Young in this. John Huston, I thought he did a good job despite being, a vile villain. You see, he was, like I said, things he did with Faye Dunaway. Then I can assume what he's going to do with the other girl. And I thought it was well written by Robert Towne, and the score by Jerry Goldsmith. I still, as a fan of him, I thought he did a good job as well with the score. And yes, I could probably give Roman Polanski credit where credit is due. I thought he did a good job with this film. Okay, despite with the ending though, I think Roman Polanski I thought he did a good job with this film, despite the fact that I know what he is and he's a piece of shit for it. I cannot lie. I have to give credit where credit is due, though. But I'm not gonna kiss his sick ass for that, because I'm not a fan of his other films either. To me, he's on the same with Francis Ford Coppola and Victor Salva and those other freaking pedophiles. Because no one should defend pedophiles ever, never. Okay. If someone who can defend a person who likes little kids, no one should defend those scumbags. Nobody. Okay? It's sick no matter how you look at it, okay? So despite all that though, I still think Roman Polanski did a good job with the film. Regardless of that though, what he is. To me, I think this is only his only good film. So But yeah, but this is my take on take on Chinatown. And I also forgot to mention the running time. It's 130 minutes despite the end credits though. And also forgot to mention this is a collector's edition as well, a 2-disc edition, where the first disc has the film, of course, but has a commentary with Robert Towne and director David Fincher. David Fincher, who going to direct Seven, of course, Alien 3, but among other films though. But David Fincher. Disc 2 has Water and Power, The Aqueduct, The Aftermath, The River and Beyond, Chinatown, an appreciation, Chinatown, The Beginning of the End, Chinatown filming, The Legacy, and the trailer. So that and the 2-disc edition. It's what is called a Centennial Collection. Is right there, Centennial Collection. But regardless of that, though, I still like Chinatown. Although my dad, he told me he's never seen this film. He did not care for to see it though. Yeah, it's like my dad, because he likes Jack Nicholson, but he never wanted to see this film. Yeah, which I can probably understand though, but I feel, to me, Chinatown is still a good movie though. It's definitely is a classic, and with that famous line at the ending of the line, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. That's a piece of film, most memorable quotes, like along with Jaws, like you're gonna get a bigger boat, among all those other famous quotes as well. But yeah, but that's said and done. That's Chinatown. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, movie review and others, and we'll see you next time. Later.